Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sunyoung Jang. I'm Associate Professor of Hanseo University of South Korea and very glad to present to you. Today, I'd like to talk about study on the subjectivity of nursing students' perception of diet. Introduction. In this modern society, there are the social environment causing obesity, and on the flip side, there is also the pressure of media praising slim appearances. Consequently, there are very many people who goes on diet even though they have a normal weight or are even below normal weight. It is very prone to return to the previous weight even if any obese person lose weight once. That is why curing obesity is difficult. On the other hand, regarding regaining weight following diet increase the risk of cardiovascular disease and cause additional burden on the public health system. Meanwhile, the case of health risk coming from regaining weight following diet are found more frequently in people with normal weight than obese or overweight people. Nurses take the largest portion in the field of public health and are the core human resource who contact patients most frequently. They should provide high level of nursing service to patients within the limited time frame under the circumstance of rapidly changing public health sector. The subjectivity of nurses' perception is the field of public health greatly influences their nursing service. Therefore, it is important to find out the perception of nursing and nursing students. Studies regarding nurses' perception on diet is not easy to find. Q methodology is based on the perspective of the behaved person rather than researchers and make it possible to structurally understand the characteristics of individual type of subjectivity. Since the perception of diet is subjective and unique experience, it is appropriate to use the Q methodology to find out the type of nurses' perception of diet. Therefore, this study is intended to find out the objectivity structure of nurses' perception of diet and use it as an understanding materials for development of education program for nursing students, which is differentiate based on the characteristic of each type of perception of diet. This is a purpose of the study. This study will find out the type of the undergraduate student's subjective perception of diet and characteristic of the type so that it can be used as underlying materials when preparing strategies for provision of education to nursing students learning about diet. To reiterate the purpose of this study, they are to categorize the type of nursing students' perception of diet, to analyze and describe the type of nursing students' perception of diet. This is study method. In order to achieve the purpose of this study, we reviewed literature, media materials, and existing studies and conducted surveys to find out the type of subjective recognition of diet. Q methodology was drawn through review of domestic and international literature, open questionnaire, individual in-depth interviews, etc., to get comprehensive statements regarding the effects of diet from the nursing students in undergrad year in our country. Through this process, we have drawn about 200 Q population in 3 areas and have drawn about 100 Q population by integrating collection literature. We have selected the final 49 samples which have high level of differentiation through review and correction of Q samples drawn from this study. This is the sampling method. As the speed sample is this study selected total 19 nursing students who voluntarily agreed to participate in this study after fully explaining the objective of this study to them. This slide shows Q classification process and method. 19 nursing students, the time for each participant to complete Q classification was from 35 to 15 minutes on average. Data analysis was performed via corner PC program and Q factor analysis utilized principal component factor analysis. The mean of the standard deviation of components were analyzed utilized species within 21 programs. This is result. The result of the analysis of subjectivity of diet by using PC corner program, 3 factors were found and took 41.7% of the total variant. The first factor was 26.93%, the second factor was 78.32%, and the third factor was 6.45%. Since the first factor explains the highest 26.93%, it is the biggest factor which explains most about the reason why. Out of total 19 participants, 7 belong to the first factor, and another 7 belong to second factor, and 5 belong to third factor. It implied that the person belonging to the same factor shows a similar response. The subjective type of diet which are induced by the method for categorized analysis and explained in the following. Time recognizing neighboring circumstance as a major factor. They responded that human beings are social creatures and social recognition influencing their behavior. Therefore, they said the desire for diet shall vary depending upon the level of social recognition they feel. Also, they thought diet is offspring of human society, and the criteria of diet is different from society to society. In that regard, they answered that changes in social recognition is more important than personal effort to prevent excessive diet and establish the practice of desirable diet. From the context of above mentioned, we name this type as the type recognition neighboring circumstance as a major factor. The pursuing has. They maintain that eventual purpose of diet is to have a healthy and happy life. They think the effect of diet can be achieved by changing basic patterns of life, and it will vitalize our lives. In this regard, we name this type as a type of pursuing health. Type pursuing additional benefits. Their response are interested in additional benefits of diet. They focus on changing in life following diet. They suppose that balanced body and physiological confidence coming from diet shall bring change in their lives and improve the quality of their lives. In this regard, we name this type as a type pursuing additional benefits. This is discussion. As a result of research, 3 types of this pursuing nursing students' subjective perception of diet were found. There are the first is time recognition neighboring circumstance as a major factor. The second type pursuing has. The third type pursuing additional benefits. Let us discuss characteristics of type in the following. The first type found in this study was the type recognition neighboring circumstance as a major factor. They think people begin diet because of neighboring circumstance. They suppose perceptions of others and social atmosphere make them begin their diet. Since every society is unique and various, the level of obesity and the emotional pressure for diet shall be different depending upon which society a person belongs to. Therefore, they suppose that undesirable diet can be prevented by changing prejudice and notion of society. If a society has problematic criteria of beauty or has some sort of discrimination. The second type found in this study was the type pursuing health. They think diet should be done to achieve health life, and it should be conducted through change into desirable daily habits, including exercise and balancing meals. They also think diet is not necessary for all older people but shall be necessary for the certain type of people for their health life. The third type found in this study was the type pursuing additional benefits. That they were interested in secondary benefits of diet. When diet is successful, they think they can benefit from physical, psychological health and vitality, as well as the physical benefits. Stress can be reduced, and successful diets will be beneficial for employment and socializing. They suppose that successful diet shall improve self-esteem and satisfaction. This study analyzed the subjectivity of nursing students' perception of diet by categorizing into three types. Most of nursing students thought not all people need to go on diet, and it is selectively necessary for certain cases. They also thought diet should be done in health and reasonable way without the risk of side effects. The first type that recognized neighboring circumstances as the major factor supposed that they do diet because the circumstance. The second type, the pursuing health, goes on diet for the purpose of health. The third type, that pursuing additional benefits, go on the diet because of the additional benefits which follows successful diet. These kinds of study on the subjective of perception of diet can be used as the basic information for the development of diet method and treatment of obesity. In addition, we anticipate that this can be used also as the basic information for the development of differentiating education program to be provided to nursing students in undergraduate year. However, this study has limitation in generalization of research, since the research was conducted only one certain university and could not selective response in consideration of factors influencing the perception of diet. Therefore, it is necessary to subsequently verify the three types by drawing Q sample from various backgrounds. This is conclusion. This study was conducted to provide the underlying information for establishment of correct method of diet by applying Q methodology. As a result of this study, the subjectivity of nursing students' perception of diet was categorized by three types. The first type, that recognized neighboring circumstances as the major factor. The second type, that pursue health care. The third type, that pursuing additional benefit. This study categorized the subjectivity of nursing student perception of diet, and thereby it shall provide the underlying basic information for establishment of policy for public health related with diet. Also, we anticipate that this study can be used as the base for the development of education program to be provided to nursing students in consideration of the characteristic of individual type. In addition, we also suggested subsequently study to further analyze three types by drawing more samples from various backgrounds and to verify factors influencing nursing of patients going through diet. This is reference. Thank you very much for your attention. Now I'd like to open it up for question. Do you have any question? Thank you.